Hi, I'm Mike. 3 years ago, we began a series titled How to Become a Rancher. The first 3 episodes of that series covered what to expect, what kind of rancher you can be, and where you would like to have the ranch of your dreams. Unfortunately, COVID hit and stopped us short. But now I'm glad to say that we're finally going to give you the final video in that series. It's been 3 years in the making, but now I'm happy to bring you For years, I've received emails asking, how do I become a rancher? Some of those I've been able to answer, but for most, it's a very difficult and daunting question. A website called Career Explorer, when asked that very question, gives this answer. Although a degree is not required to be a rancher, some ranchers do complete a degree in agriculture or ranch management, or a similar field. Instead of earning a degree, an aspiring rancher could be an apprentice to an experienced rancher in order to learn the skills necessary. This takes between 1 to 2 years and is a hands-on, on-the-job, intensive type training. Many experienced ranchers love to pass their skills on to the next generation. And here are some of the skills necessary in order to become a rancher, according to Career Explorer. Some relevant experience is preferred for entry-level positions. A good business and management sense is needed in order for the ranch to become a profitable business. Some repair and maintenance skills are necessary in order to keep the equipment and structures in good working order. Some veterinary skills are necessary in order to maintain the health of the herd. And finally, planning skills are key, as a ranch can be rife with unexpected obstacles. I'm not going to argue with any of that, but I believe, and I truly believe, that ranching isn't just a career, it's a calling. It's late nights with no sleep trying to keep a calf alive. It's working sore muscles. It's fighting with your husband or your wife. It's money flying out the window and trying to come up with ways to bring more in. It's side hustles and trades. It's dealing with a neighbor that you have no choice but to share a fence line with. And it's rarely ever easy. I don't know a single ranch in the world that's run in solitude with just one person. You rely on customers, buyers, friends, neighbors, and of course family to get this done. In fact, you have to build a team around yourself. Ranching is hard enough, and without help, you probably won't succeed. There are going to be times when you have to come up with the answer to any problem on the fly, those unexpected obstacles. But my suggestion is to stop and to breathe and ask for help, because that's the only way you're going to find it. Today's video is about financing your ranch, but it's also about our story, because just a few weeks ago, we purchased a portion of the very ranch we've been on for the last 15 years, adding to our name and to our own little piece of land. Every farm and ranch in this country handles generational change differently. What follows in this video is what has happened with our family and what's helping us build a future for the ranch. Since January of 2022, we knew we had to buy a portion of the ranch, and we needed to do it pretty quickly. Erin's mom is no longer in the cattle business, and we had an opportunity to buy a part of the ranch. So that's what begins our journey in finding our own financing and buying land in Northeast Wyoming. We knew what the asking price was per acre, and I think that's a pretty good starting point that most people will begin at. Once you know the total amount of financing you're going to need, you can start the process of looking for some way to pay for it. But as we found out, it wasn't that easy. The first stop we made was the USDA at farmers.gov. So the USDA offers a lot of help to farmers and ranchers and foresters to get loans that they need. A farm ownership loan can be used to purchase or expand a farm or a ranch, and they offer up to $600,000 for eligible borrowers. And if you're a first-time farmer, this may be the right option for you. Beginning farmers and ranchers with less than 10 years of experience can get started with one of these loans through the USDA's Farm Service Agency, or FSA for short. They aren't just giving away money, and you'll have to show a business model or a plan, and you have to come up with a down payment of about 5% of the purchase price. The FSA can also guarantee up to 95% of a loan if it's obtained from a commercial lender. It's easy to find more information about FSA loans. All you have to do is go to find your local FSA office at farmers.gov and make an appointment. While FSA was our first stop, we quickly found out that we didn't qualify for the beginning farmers and ranchers loans. See, we've been on the ranch for 14 years, and to them, that made us no longer beginners. Although we could still maybe use a Farm Service Agency loan to help us guarantee a commercial loan. So that's where we went next. There's a saying, when you try something, you risk failure. But if you don't try, you insure it. I don't know who said that, but I should get it tattooed on the inside of my eyelids. So many times in life, we know what we want to do. We just don't do it. It was like that for me as we started looking for commercial banks for a loan. On our ranch, we make money in non-traditional ways. We have YouTube, which will make pretty much anyone pause when you mention that you get paid for posting online. But more importantly, we had just decided to quit the traditional way our ranch had operated for over 100 years. Well, we threw it right out the window. The cow-calf operation was now done on the ranch, and we had dedicated ourselves to providing our beef and pork and other products direct to consumer through our farm store and online sales. Timing could have been a little better. For example, if we had a 5-year track record under our belt, we might have been able to convince the gatekeepers at commercial banks that we had a viable business plan. Unfortunately, old school still rules in some degree, and we were forced to talk about stocking rates and selling our steers to feedlots when we had a feedlot of our own. We had to talk about calf prices when we never again plan on selling calves at auction. Luckily for us, we had a loan officer who was young and understood what we were doing. She had faith in us and felt so good about what we were doing. But after months of not knowing, we were turned down for a loan. That's the other thing about this process nobody ever talks about. Nothing happens fast. Everything moves at the speed of dark. And while it's frustrating, you have to realize there are a lot of moving parts. Here's the basic 1, 2, 3 of getting a land loan. First, you find the land and determine the price that you will buy it for. Second, you find a lender and get approved for the loan. Now, that's the hard part. Third, you survey the land to show what you're buying, and you file that with your county. Fourth, you get an appraisal done, and you make sure you aren't paying too much for the loan, or the bank's not. And number 5, hopefully you close the loan. Now, there could be a lot of other hiccups thrown in there as well. There's water studies, wildlife and environmental issues, utilities, zoning restrictions, and a whole host of other problems. What I'm saying is that you have to be prepared for a process. And unless you have cash money, you're going to be waiting for a little while. So after waiting for months, Erin and I found out that we were not going to be able to get a commercial loan, even with an FSA guarantee. We were stuck between a rock and a hard place. We had too many years' experience on the ranch to be considered beginning farmers, and we didn't have enough experience for a commercial bank loan to believe that we knew what we're doing, and we could make money doing it. I kind of wanted to quit. I felt like we were caught in a catch-22, damned if you do and damned if you don't, but we had to stop and breathe and ask for help. Now, if you've been with the channel for any amount of time, you've probably heard of FBN, Farmers Business Network. Since 2020, when FBN launched their livestock division, we have been happy to have called FBN a sponsor of Our Wyoming Life. Our job has been to get the word out about FBN's livestock division. And one of the founders of FBN just happened to be an Our Wyoming Life fan and gave us the opportunity to do just that. Now, fast forward to the middle of 2022, actually about 3/4 of the way through 2022, and my little mental breakdown about the future of the ranch. And I'm on the phone with Charles from FBN, and we chat about what's happening. It's then that he tells me that FBN has a finance division, and I should give them a call, explain our situation, and see what they can do. So we called, and we found a whole new way to finance our land and a new type of lender. FBN has farmland loans where you can get new loans or refinance your existing loan, and they pride themselves in helping family farmers extend their operations into the next generation. They also have a farmland capital product. Now that's an alternative to a loan and accesses the equity value of your property. It's not a loan, it's farmland capital. It's a non-debt way to finance land purchases by bringing in investors who are in to invest alongside you and your operation for a set amount of time. At the end, you pay back the investor based on your farm or ranch's updated value without paying interest on the financing in the meantime. In our case, we used farmland capital to lower the overall amount of debt that we needed to buy the ranch. Since we were able to bring in an investment to partially finance the purchase, well, the whole thing sounded like it was right up our alley. And here's how it worked. The application process began online. It took only minutes. We had a dedicated advisor to help us through the process, and we uploaded our documents, and we soon had a decision. Getting a survey and the appraisal were the steps that has waiting because they were completed by a local company that had to schedule us in. But once that was done, we were able to lock in our interest rate. On January 27th, we closed on our loan. This is where FBN surprised me and honestly blew me away by offering a program like no other. Farmland Capital provides money today for a share of your farm or ranch's future value and can account for up to 25% of your farm's value. The great part is there's no interest payment because it's not a loan. In fact, there's no payment until the end of the term unless you sell your ranch. Another cool thing is that you can choose within 10 years to buy the shares back from the investors. Farmland investors found by FBN and Farmland Capital choose to invest alongside you, the farmer or the rancher. They know that farming and ranching is a capital-intensive business with razor-thin margins, and they also know that banks will typically only lend 60% of a farm's value, leaving the gap up to you. Farmland Capital is there to help you fill that gap. It's an amazing product, and it's only offered by FBN, and we were so lucky to have it available. And because this is an investment, this also means we're able to partner with investors that are interested in supporting operations like ours. Farmland Capital complements our real estate loan and makes our loan more manageable. And not only that, but we feel like we truly have a partner with FBN as they are committed to our success. That's the great part. Our loan officer at FBN comes from a farming family. Our credit analyst, a farmer. And our closing coordinator, farmer. Thanks to them, I'm standing on land we own. We have skin in the game. FBN has many other financing options as well to help farmers finance their operations. Not only do they have land loans and this farmland capital product we've been talking about, but they have operating loans, input financing, and equipment loans available as well. Financing your ranch, it's going to be a journey. just like ours was. It took over a year, but with the right people behind you, it can happen faster. Another thing that most people don't think about is this. A ranch is a huge investment. It's a huge undertaking. Stress is inevitable. Different people deal with it in different ways. I know that my wife, Erin, she was stressed beyond the max right up until the papers were signed, and she breathed a sigh of relief. For me, once the papers were signed, now I felt like there was this bounty on my head, and the pressure to succeed is huge. I'm just throwing that out there because it's something worth thinking about for your sake. It's not going to be easy being a rancher. Well, in many ways. Just remember to stop and breathe and ask for help. Take a piece of advice from me though, and start with FBN. It may just save you a whole lot of trouble. With this portion behind us, both Erin and I want to thank Erin's mom, Rita, for this opportunity and her patience through the last year and this entire process. And of course, FBN for giving us the option, which we didn't even really know that we had, helping us along the way. This is the long-awaited end to our So You Want to Be a Rancher series. But it's not the end of ranching. If you want to keep learning about ranching and everything it entails, I would ask you to subscribe, follow along as we explore the ranch life and escape the ordinary. And thank you for allowing us to continue our journey on our ranch and our Wyoming life. Hey, little one. How's it going?